Shall we start?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you see that okay?
Yes.
Yep. Well, good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, and in some cases, good evening. Thank you for joining us for this information session on Inspiring Futures Education, with a focus on our partners in Southeast Asia. We're planning to take you through an overview of IFE today, and then details on Bishopstrow and Padworth College, the two existing schools of IFE. And during the presentation, during the discussion, we will have presentations from both principals, Lorraine Atkins and Stuart Nicholson, and also from students at both colleges. We would invite you to submit any questions through the chat function, please, and we will address those as we go through, and also towards the end of the presentation. Could I just ask you, please, to put your microphone on mute unless you're specifically asking a question, just so there's no background noise. In terms of the agenda for today, I'd like to kick things off with some introductions and a brief overview of IFE, Inspiring Futures Education. We will then provide an introduction to Bishopstrow College, which will be led by Stuart Nicholson, the principal. And following Stuart's presentation, Tin and Betty will oversee a Q&A session with a couple of existing Bishopstrow students who are enrolled with us on campus here in the UK. We'll then turn to Padworth, and Lorraine Atkins, principal, will provide an overview and introduction to Padworth College, followed by a Q&A session with 3 current Padworth students who are studying A-levels with us in year 13, again with Tin and Betty sort of overseeing the Q&A session. And then we'll have a sort of general Q&A towards the end. We estimate in about an hour and a half from now, for any questions regarding both colleges or IFE. So in terms of introductions, I'll just introduce myself and then ask the rest of the team to say hello. So my name is Mark Jeans. I certainly know many of you who are joining us today, and it's good to reconnect with many of you. Thank you for being with us. I'm one of the directors of Inspiring Futures Education, alongside Charlie Freer. We've been involved in international education for many years, the two of us, and with IFE since 2014 when we acquired Bishopstrow College. I'll turn over to Betty, then Tin, Lorraine and Stuart just to say hello.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon. I'm Betty. Some of you I see on here that I do know. So I joined IFE in January, and I look after the recruitment, marketing and admissions, and work very closely with Tin, who will introduce herself now.
Hi everyone. I think I know most of you guys, and so you should know me as well. So thanks for joining today. And yeah, I also joined IFE in January as well. So it's really nice to have you all on board, and it will be a great opportunity for our principals to meet you guys as well. So I'll let Lorraine to introduce herself now.
Good day, everybody. Some of you I know. I've just added it up now. I have spent the last 31 years of my life in British boarding schools, and that's really quite scary. The other 3 years of my life, I spent 2.5 of it in China. And as some of you know, of my 4 children, I am the British tiger mother. 3 of them speak Mandarin, and one of them actually speaks Cantonese as well. I am committed to international education, and I look forward to speaking to you more in depth later.
Stuart?
Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. As Lorraine was totting up 31 years, I was horrified to do my own totting, and it's a little bit longer. I've, however, been at Bishopstrow just a couple of years, and perhaps the oddest period of educational experience I think anyone has. Thankfully, we're getting very much back to normal, and we're looking forward to things being very much more familiar very soon. Things are going very well here in the UK, I'm glad to say, and we'll perhaps touch on a bit of that in due course, as well, of course, details about the two colleges. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. So just 2 or 3 brief sort of thoughts on Inspiring Futures Education. IFE, as we refer to it, is a group of international schools focused on preparing students for onward progression to leading boarding schools and universities. And our focus is predominantly international students. So Padworth College specialises in GCSE, A-level and university foundation programmes, preparing students aged 14 to 18, 19 for onward progression to universities, mainly in the UK, mainly top UK universities. And Bishopstrow is a year-round, fully residential college offering English language and academic pathway programmes to prepare students aged 7 to 17 for progression onto leading boarding schools, again, mainly in the UK. What both colleges have in common is that they act as stepping stones for students, and as I said, predominantly international students, to help them prepare for, progress, and then continue with their educational journey, whether that's universities in the case of students at Padworth or boarding schools in the case of students at Bishopstrow. You can see that we span a significant age range in that our very youngest students, age 7, are coming to us to progress on to prep schools and then senior schools in the UK. And then at the other end of the scale, we have students age 17, 18, who are joining us to do a foundation year at Padworth before progressing on to university. The commonalities in terms of the two schools and IFE, in addition to offering those pathway type programs, is both colleges are relatively small, so in the region of 100 students, which means we can provide a lot of individual care and support, both within the classroom and outside the classroom. And because a high proportion of our students have English as a second language, we have dedicated teams at both colleges helping students progress both with their academic English alongside their other academic qualifications. I know many of you are familiar with Bishopstrow and Padworth, but for those of you that are not, I just wanted to highlight sort of the entry points at both colleges in terms of where students can start on their educational journey with one of the IFE schools. So starting off with Bishopstrow College, just sort of laid out a diagram here, and hopefully not too complicated, that highlights the different stages of education leading through to university. So prep school, senior school, sixth form, and then university. And thinking that through in terms of year groups, following the sort of the UK system, prep school typically being pre-year 7, but it could also be pre-year 9, senior school being years 7 through to 11, sixth form years 12 and 13, and then obviously an undergraduate degree at university. And there are sort of 4 key entry points for students coming into Bishopstrow. We have a junior college program, which typically is a preparation program for students going on to prep school. We have a middle college program, which is a preparation program for students joining typically years 7 to 9 at a senior school. A pre-IGCSE program, which is typically the entry point for students then going on to study GCSEs at a mainstream boarding school, and a 1-year IGCSE program equivalent of year 11, which leads into A-levels. And I think the common theme here is that the students coming to Bishopstrow are typically looking to progress onto traditional boarding schools in the UK. And the Bishopstrow provision is very much aligned with a traditional boarding school in that students wear a uniform and very much follow the day-to-day routines that they would have when they go on to a mainstream boarding school, because the focus of Bishopstrow is very much preparing students, international students, for boarding in the widest sense, not just in terms of their English or their academic subjects or their qualifications, but all aspects of a boarding school education. So 4 entry points there, and Stuart will come on and talk more about those programs and Bishopstrow shortly. In terms of Padworth, using the same sort of framework, looking at the key entry points, Padworth, we're generally focusing, as I mentioned, on that stepping stone to university. This may be the last 4 years of students' education in schooling before university through to the last year. So again, the key entry points for Padworth two-year GCSE program, students enrolling year 10 before progressing on to typically A-levels and then their undergraduate degree. A one-year IGCSE program leading into sixth form, a two-year or 18-month A-level program, the 18-month program starting in January, again, then leading on to university, and a foundation program for students typically age 17, equivalent to year 13, again, that one-year stepping stone before progressing on to the first year of an undergraduate degree. And in the case of the foundation program, Padworth is an accredited delivery partner of NC UK for the International Foundation Year, which, as many of you know, leads to almost all universities in the UK. So a really good stepping stone for students looking to do a foundation year. The other key factor here that sort of ties these programs together at Padworth is that we, whilst we are a boarding school, we are not a traditional boarding school in the traditional sense. So our students, for example, do not wear a uniform, although we have a dress code. And it's very much an international community with up to 30 different nationalities represented. And what we're trying to do at Padworth is to provide an environment, a setting, which is more aligned with university than perhaps a traditional boarding school, because we're very much focused, again, in the wider sense, for preparing students for that progression on to university. Again, Lorraine will talk more about these programs when she provides the introduction to Padworth. So the next item here is Bishopstrow, and Stuart will now take us through sort of an overview and introduction to Bishopstrow College.
Thank you very much, Mark. If you could move on, lovely, thank you. Bishopstrow has been around since 2006. And when it was established, it was unique in the concept, and we think it still is. Now, I'll explain a little bit about why we think so as we go through. And it was established as a preparatory international boarding school to prepare students to go to the best British boarding schools after the introduction at Bishopstrow. And it's unusual in being year-round. So we don't have a summer break as most schools do. We operate 44 weeks a year with 4 terms. I'll give a bit more detail about that later as well. And our focus is on providing a combination of English language and academic programs to provide these international students with entry into boarding schools. The youngest age we take is 7. So we've got that age range that prepares the youngest students to go into top prep schools, and then the 11 to 14, preparing them for entry into both prep and senior schools. And then at the top end, we have 16, 17-year-olds whom we're preparing for entry into the best sixth forms. And the college scale is small. The maximum number of students we have is around 90 at any one time. And they're very geographically diverse. Usually 30 to 40 nationalities will be represented amongst the students who come to Bishopstrow over the year. And that small scale is really important. It means that the students are very well known. It means they are understood very quickly. The class sizes are very advantageous. I'll give more detail about that too. So they get a very personal, bespoke, really supportive, helpful experience that gives them the opportunity to progress really quickly. We're on the edge of the lovely old market town of Warminster, down in the southwest of England, and we're close to the lovely cities of Salisbury and Bath. Thank you, Mark. Next slide, please. Mark, do you have the ability to mute?
Yeah.
Thank you. The things that make Bishopstrow different, a number of things. I mentioned that we started unique and continue to be unique. It is a very flexible model that Bishopstrow operates. I said that we had a 4-term year, and that 4-term year allows us to prepare students for entry into their destination school in a very rapid and effective way. Some students might be with us for as little as a term. They might arrive with us in September and move on to their boarding school, final boarding school in January. They might join us at the end of June, be with us for our term 4, July and August, and then go into their boarding school at the beginning of the next academic year in September. So it is a really flexible structure, all designed to prepare them effectively and rapidly for a really flying start in their boarding school. Bishopstrow is also independent of any other school. There are international study centres around the UK at some other schools, but they are all associated with other schools. And Bishopstrow's independence means that we've been able to develop our reputation with all the schools in the UK. And we send students to, well, I'll show you later, a very long list of very good schools. And you'll see that the reputation of Bishopstrow for providing a successful start is very strong. Teaching partnerships are an unusual feature. They too illustrate just how strong the reputation is of Bishopstrow College. So these teaching partnerships are formal agreements with other boarding schools. And these are boarding schools who will issue a single CAS for students both to go to that school and to come to Bishopstrow beforehand. So these are schools who are saying that we have such a high regard for Bishopstrow that we actually want students to go to Bishopstrow before joining us. And we've got a long list of those which I'll share with you shortly. And one of the reasons for that reputation is the academic performance. Over recent years, there's been very strong academic success in the IGCSEs, for example. Last year, 100% passing and 45% achieving the top 2 grades. And there's similar, perhaps even stronger success when you look at students' performance in English language exams. Next slide, please, Mark. The programs that run at Bishopstrow, there's a broad range. I said the college is very flexible, and that is represented too in the available programs. They all have in common that they have English language and academic programs. So it's not restricted to English, but it is making sure that students learn to learn in their academic subjects as well through English. And again, there's a slide with more detail about that shortly. And as well as the academic subjects, there's a wide range of extracurricular activities, and they're an integral part of what we do. We recognize that to prepare students well for a boarding school experience, you need to make sure that they understand everything about the wider context of the school education that they're going on to, not just what will happen in the classroom. It's a holistic experience being a boarder, and we have to prepare them fully for all of that experience. The class sizes are very small, as I said. If you're in an English class, then your maximum class size will be 8. And if you're in one of your subject classes, the maximum class size is 12. And these all enable students to make really good progress. They love the fact that they are so well known by their teachers, that they know that this means that their teachers can identify what they most need. And all of that contributes towards them making the rapid progress that's a feature of the college. The key programs, I'll give you some more details shortly about the junior college program. That's our 7 to 11-year-olds. For those who are a little older, 11 to 14, we have our middle college program. And then the older students, a slightly more diverse range. The pre-IGCSE program, the 1-year IGCSE, and the academic summer that takes place during our term 4 from the end of June through July and August. The next one, please, Mark. Thank you. This is quite a detailed slide, so if we can take it a section at a time. If we look initially at the left-hand side, if we look at the junior college, you'll see that is, as I said, for the 7 to 11-year-olds. And the programs there are the junior college program that runs throughout the year, and the academic summer, which is as little as 5 weeks in the June to August period. For our younger students, we can take them from absolute beginner level. And it's not unusual for us to have youngsters who are complete beginners, and we're very well set up to help them develop their confidence quickly and make good progress. The flexibility of course length, as I mentioned, if they are coming on the junior college program, that's as little as 1 term and up to 4 terms. So we might have some youngsters perhaps join us in September. They're with us all 4 terms through until the end of August, and then heading off to their boarding school. Others might be just 1 term, and that 1 term might be the 1st term, or it might be the 4th term. And it all depends what works for that individual students. Again, that's highlighting that flexibility that the college offers. The academic summer program is 5 weeks. That's during term 4. And term 4 operates in 2 halves as far as the academic summer is concerned. So they can either come for the first 5 weeks or the second 5 weeks of our term 4. The range of subjects is broad. Not surprisingly, the main focus is on English, as I said. And that's English in a variety of contexts. About half their time is devoted to English, but it's not just ESL as one big block. They look at English through various lenses. They're looking at drama and literature. They're looking at skills for life. And so the English has an interesting variety about it. And as well as the English, they are taught maths, science, creative arts, geography, history, and personal, social, health, economic education. So they're getting those academic subjects taught by people who are experienced and trained to help second language students learn those subjects. So they're not just being, as it were, thrown into a class where they're being taught maths by somebody who is mainly teaching maths to native speakers. They're joining a small bespoke maths group which is being taught by somebody who is expert in teaching maths to non-native speakers, and that helps them again make the best progress. And when they have been through the junior college process for 1 to 4 terms, they head off either to prep school or, if they're a little older, to their 11+ senior school. If we then move on to the middle college program, that's the age range 11 to 14, doing the middle college or the academic summer. Again, they can either be with us for 1 to 4 terms, or they can be with us for 5 weeks for the academic summer. Generally, the 11 to 14-year-olds have a little bit better English when they join us. We can take students with very limited English even there, but they might need to stay with us for a little longer. So if they come in with a lower level of English, then the chances are inevitably that they might need to be with us for 4 terms before moving on to their senior school. And if you look at the curriculum there, very similar to that which is with the younger students, and again on the same principle. A lot of English, but presented in a diverse, varied, interesting way. And then the academic subjects taught by people who are specialists not only in their subject, but specialists in teaching second language learners in those subjects. And having succeeded with the middle college program, off they go to their senior schools, to these very well-known, very recognizable names that you'll see shortly. Moving on to our oldest students in the senior college, they are aged 14 to 17. Some of those will be doing a pre-IGCSE program, the younger students. Some of the older ones will be doing study at IGCSE level, and exactly how many exams they would go on to study at the end of the year, how many examinations they would take rather, would depend on their progress. We don't insist on those students taking GCSE exams at the end of the year, but if they are doing well and that is the right thing for them to do, then again, our flexibility allows them to do so. The one-year IGCSE program is a little different. There, the explicit intention is to take a significant number of GCSEs at the end, and there's a slide specifically about that, so I won't give too much detail on that at the moment. And again, with the senior college, they too have the opportunity for an academic summer to come during term 4 for a 5-week program. Again, as the students get older, generally they have a higher level of English when they join us. And those who are coming for the one-year GCSE, they need a strong level of English in order to survive and thrive on that programme. Course length, as with all the other age ranges, they can be with us for between 1 and 4 terms, and they can have that 5-week academic summer. And that's one that works really well for students who are just wanting that flying start to their time in boarding school. So if you think of students who are going to join a boarding school in September, well, the 5-week academic summer or coming in term 4 to Bishopstrow, you can imagine how that immersion and rapid integration into British education is really helpful for them and giving them a flying start when they go on into their senior school. And the timing of term 4 is very important. That finishes at the end of August, and that gives the students a short break before the terms start at their follow-on boarding school. Slightly different curriculum for the older students, slightly more variety added, and the addition of things like business, which are very popular with international students. Global perspectives, a wide-ranging course that looks at issues around the world and helps develop and recognizes the fact that these are cosmopolitan international citizens. And having completed the senior college, they head off also to their senior schools. Thank you, Mark. Next one.
Test your call quality.
This is the one-year IGCSE, the program that I said I'd give you some additional detail about. This is distinctive because the plan right from the outset when students join the one-year IGCSE program is that they will be doing a significant number of examinations at the end of that 1 year. Now, of course, you all know that IGCSE is generally a 2-year program. So we are preparing high ability students on this program. If you're setting out to do 6 or 8 IGCSEs in just 1 year, this is a program for high ability students who are targeting some top schools. And it is for students coming in with a strong level of English and able to do those exams before going off into good sixth forms, heading on to either A-levels or in some cases the IB diploma program. And this program has 30 hours of academic tuition, and that's spread across those subjects that they will be doing their examinations in. And additionally, an additional 7.5 hours of supervised homework, supervised prep. And we're looking for them to work very hard at that, like all our students. And these need to be students who are ambitious to do very well. But it is not just academic. Although these are students who we expect to have high ability and high ambition, we still want them to have that full, rich experience that is so important. So just like other students, they have 7 hours of sports and activities each week. And there are activities every weekend that keep them busy, active, keeps them healthy, keeps them fit, keeps their minds alert. And in addition, we do some full day educational visits a couple of times a term, or we will as soon as we are allowed to, and that won't be long. We'll soon be back to doing those. And all of that is designed to contribute to their overall learning. These are all opportunities for them to continue to use the skills that they're developing and use those in different contexts, in less formal ways. And it all makes an important contribution to their overall academic and English progress, as well as them, as I say, enjoying life, keeping fit, keeping healthy. One of the features of Bishopstrow is the individual learning plan. It is a very detailed form of reporting process, and that identifies where students are, it identifies the progress that they're making, it identifies what we and they need to do in order to make the best progress over the next few weeks as well. So that's an important part of the monitoring and progress reporting. Students also have weekly tutorials. These things are true for all our students, not just the one-year IGCSE. And they all benefit from preparation for entrance exams that they might need for their destination schools. And they get preparation and practice for the interviews, which are a feature of almost all of those entry processes. Now, when we look at that one-year IGCSE, I think I've probably emphasized, just how challenging it is to set out on a course to do perhaps 8 IGCSE exams in just 1 year. And if students are looking to get into the more competitive schools, then also we think it's important to enroll early. So being with us in June and to do this as a 4-term program, one of the key things there is that the competitive schools are often closing their application windows very early in September. So unless you are on the ball and working on it at least 2 or 3 months ahead, then you're simply going to miss the boat. And so we don't want that to happen to our students. We want them to be well prepared. We want them to be looking ahead. And that's why we strongly advise that students come in June to start that program if they possibly can. Thank you, Mark. Next one. I mentioned the individual learning plan, and this is what they look like. This comes out frequently. Every student gets one on their first arrival at the college. We do benchmark testing so that we know where a student's starting point is, and we are then planning carefully the progress that they will then make. And that is updated a couple of further times during that first term. So there are 3 individual learning plans in a student's first term with us. So we get that initial one, and then you get a progress report part of the way through the term, and then you get a progress report at the end of the term. And these are immensely thorough. There is detail about what the course contains. There's detail about a student's progress in each of their subjects, and there is advice about what they can do to develop further. Additionally, it covers how they're doing in the activities outside the classroom. We report on how they're doing in their physical education progress, and of course that all-encompassing boarding report about all the things that they're doing in the wider context of the college. We also report on the weekly testing. Every Saturday morning, our students benefit from some regular testing, and that helps them and us. It's not a high pressure process. It's not something that adds to stress. It's something that adds to progress. And the students understand that by us testing them each week, we can see the progress they're making. We can see how they're doing, and that they know that that helps their teachers help them. So it's an important structural part of the whole integrated package. These individual learning plans are shared with agents, guardians, and parents, and the students too know what the content is. Obviously, it's very important that they too understand their progress and understand how to continue to do well. If you come on the shorter academic summer program, then even in that 5-week period, we will produce a summary of how the student has performed, progressed, and achieved over the course of that 5-week academic summer. Next slide, please. Here are the schools that Bishopstrow students went on to last year. You'll see both amongst the prep schools and the senior schools some very famous names. And you'll also realize when I said that Bishopstrow students go on to a very wide range of schools, and that Bishopstrow is truly independent in terms of preparing students for all the best schools across the country, you can see how this illustrates that. Very well known, very good schools, and a very large number of them spread across the entire boarding sector. Next slide, please, Mark. And I mentioned the teaching partnerships. These are the schools who say that they would really like their students to spend some time at Bishopstrow because they value the preparation that Bishopstrow gives those students when they make that transition. So these are schools where students can have an offer from these schools to study there, and they can, on the strength of the CAS and visa process from that school, also come to Bishopstrow without having to go through a separate CAS and visa process. And that's an integrated process where we are preparing them in an ever closer way for moving on to these top schools. Thank you, Mark. Next slide. I mentioned a bit about the wider holistic approach of the college. The extracurricular program encompasses every day of the week. So every day there are sports and activities. We recognize the importance of keeping physically fit in order also to keep mentally fit. And there's a wide range of sports and activities that contribute to that. We also want to use that to help students develop the understanding again about the schools that they're going on to. So, many of our students have never come across these, crazy English sports like, cricket and rounders and netball, and they get to understand all of these things while they're here at Bishopstrow. And nobody at Bishopstrow feels embarrassed about making mistakes when they're trying something new, because everybody is trying something new all the time. Everybody is making mistakes all the time. And that's great for them, being confident, learning the things that they need, and then being able to move on really confidently when they go to their next school. So we cover the whole range of, introducing the whole range of sports that they are going to experience. And there's a wide range of clubs, from crazy scientists to chess and debating, and weekend activities. We take advantage, amongst other things, of the beautiful setting that we're in. Wiltshire is lovely. And even in these COVID restricted times, our students have actually loved going walking on the hills around Warminster. And one of the joys really has been how much they have enjoyed doing these simple fresh air exercise experiences. They've been really positive about it. And even though students are with us for a relatively short time, we run a house system, because that again gets them used to what happens at typical British independent schools, and they enjoy being part of those houses. They identify with the houses. They enjoy participating in house activities, which are everything from house plays to house basketball. Next slide, please, Mark. An update on what's happening in the COVID world. Right at the beginning, we set out to be as safe as we possibly could. We've had a really cautious approach to keeping students, staff, and everyone safe at both the IFE colleges. And we adopted the Boarding Schools Association COVID Safe Charter right from the outset. In fact, we had all of those things that they were recommending in place before the charter came out. And we've been committed to the Safe Schools initiative, but we're ahead of all of those things and doing in both colleges' case, doing more than those things are recommending. Both colleges opened in January, spring term at Padworth and term 2 at Bishopstrow, and we had the majority of our students back on campus. And thankfully, a lot of those classes we've actually been able to deliver face-to-face. So even though the country has been in lockdown and day schools have been closed, because we have our students actually here with us, and because we have a number of staff here with us, it's been permitted for some of those classes to continue face-to-face, because we've had staff who are part of the resident boarding bubble alongside the students. So some classes have continued face-to-face since the beginning of this term, and some have been online. And even during the COVID year that we've had, we've still been able to do a full program of extracurricular activities. Both colleges benefit from having plenty of space of their own and being in a rural setting. Our rates have been low in the regions where we are, and I hardly dare tempt fate, but at Bishopstrow we haven't had a single case either in staff or students. So what the colleges have been doing has been very successful. Things like requiring staff to wear face masks. We've got the space to have social distancing pretty much at all times. And all of that clearly has been very successful in reducing the impact of COVID-19 in our colleges. Currently, students and staff are tested twice weekly through the National Health Service Test and Trace scheme. But again, we were well ahead of the game as far as testing was concerned. We were buying our own private testing facilities before this became available nationally. So again, both colleges well ahead of the game, doing everything they can to keep people safe, even with doing advanced testing well before it was normal. So things seem to be improving dramatically in the UK at the moment. You might have seen some of the graphs. These are really very, very positive. We inevitably see them every night on the news. The numbers are dropping rapidly of infections and hospitalizations. And thankfully, the one graph that is going up rapidly at the moment is the number of people who are being vaccinated. I get mine next week, and I think by the time I get mine, I think I will be about at the 50%. About 50% of the UK will have been vaccinated by the time I get my first jab next week. And all of that is really giving a real metaphorical and literal shot in the arm to all of us here in British schools. So I think on that cheerful, positive, upbeat note, I think that's the end of my session. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Stuart. That was
Thank you, Stuart.
really helpful. Now, the next slot, I think we're sort of broadly on time, is a Q&A with a couple of our current Bishopstrow students. Betty, Tin, are we good to go?
I need to check if Kate is on with the students. I can't see her on at the moment. Kate, are you on? But whilst we're waiting, does anybody have any questions regarding COVID or Bishopstrow? We do have a question. Do you have, so we've got LKL, International Consulting, asking, do you have the comprehensive information how to welcome students arriving in the UK under COVID-19, the procedure and any isolation periods that are needed?
Shall I take that one?
Yes.
Thank you, Betty. So we can certainly provide comprehensive information. Obviously, the requirements in terms of when the student arrives at the airport, so let's assume it's Heathrow Airport, will vary depending on where the student is coming from. But of course, in most cases, international arrivals, international travellers coming to the UK do need evidence of a negative PCR test in most cases, and that test to have been taken within 72 hours of departing their home before travelling to the UK. From our side, and this applies to both Bishopstrow and Padworth, we would arrange for a DBS checked sort of car service to collect the student from the airport. We would insist that would be one student per vehicle. The driver will be suitably compliant in terms of PPE and protection, so wearing a mask, obviously access to sanitizer, etc. And the student would come to be brought to the college, where they would be tested on arrival, and then they would start a period of quarantine. And at the moment, although this of course may vary as we progress with the vaccination program and coming out of lockdown, that quarantine period would typically be sort of conducted from their boarding room. They would join their classes online for the 10-day quarantine period. They would be required under the current guidance to be tested on day 2 and day 8. That's an official requirement of the government currently. And then at the end of the 10-day quarantine period, they would join the rest of the students and go about their education in the normal way. So there is a tried and tested process here. We've obviously been doing this now for many, many months, and we're very much up to speed with the changing requirements, but happy to provide further details if required.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark. I think we have Canon and Kiari now.
Oh, yes. Hello. Good
Hello,
morning.
hi. let's see. So we've got Kaori from Japan, who's studying the middle college program, and we have Canon from Japan as well, who is doing the pre-IGCSE program. So, the IGCSE program. So good morning, girls. Thank you so much for joining us before you go into classes. Are you able to please just introduce yourselves?
Okay, so I'm Kanon Shimio. I'm from Japan. I'm 15 years old and I'm taking IGCSE program here. And I have been here for about 1 year.
Thank you.
Oh,
And Kaori?
my name is Kaori Sato, and I'm pretty much similar to Kanon. I'm also from Japan, and I've been staying here in Bishopstrow College for about 1 year as well. But I'm 13.
And you're 13. Okay, thank you. And happy birthday to you as well for yesterday. So, good. So girls, are you able to talk to us a little bit about your experience at Bishopstrow? So what is your day-to-day like at Bishopstrow? What's a typical day in the life of Bishopstrow?
Yes, so in the morning we wake up at
Like 7?
yeah,
15?
7 like that.
Yeah,
and then we have breakfast at 7:30.
It's
And
delicious.
yes, it's really delicious.
Mhm.
And we have a morning assembly after breakfast. And from 8:30 we have how to say
Half past eight?
assembly.
Yeah, assembly.
Yeah, assembly. And then we learn very important things in the life. For example, drugs, how to
Yeah.
avoid these illegal drugs.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
like,
we were recently learning about risks of internet.
yeah.
It's quite important.
Yeah, and then we have senior students have 6 classes a day, and after that we have
Sports.
yeah,
Yeah,
sports
sports.
lesson for an hour.
And then we have prep, which is homework, and the seniors have more time to do prep. But yeah, as middles, we have activities after prep, like for example, watching films and arts and crafts, which are quite fun. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. And so you've both been at Bishopstrow for a few terms now. And where are you going off to after Bishopstrow? Do you have a school in mind?
Yes, we both have it.
Yeah, I'm going to head of Lansing College.
You're going to Lansing College. Fantastic. And you, Kaori?
I'm going to the Uppingham School.
You're
Yeah.
going to Uppingham. And what are you going to study at Uppingham?
I'm not really sure now, but I would like to take art.
Okay.
Yeah, it's my hobby and I like to do art. Also, maybe literature. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And you, Canon, what A-levels are you going to go and study?
So I like to be a vet in the future. So I will take A-levels for biology, chemistry, math, and physics.
Okay, fantastic. Tin, do you have any questions for Canon and Kaori?
Yeah, just for hi both. Just for curiosity, what do you like the most when you study at Bishopstrow? Like any particular thing happens during the time?
I think in this coronavirus situation, we can't go outside and like go shopping or something. But instead of it, we go for a walk together, and we are surrounded by nature. So we are very appreciate the environment and we are enjoying it.
Yeah, and also like the other students, they're like really communicative and outgoing, so I can talk to them easily, and I love like chatting with them. Yeah.
Good to know. Do you guys because you are in a lockdown situation, assuming normally in a normal time you can go out and have field trip and things, but do you do any sports? Do you do any
every single day?
Yeah. Yes. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Go ahead. What kind of sport do you guys do?
We have PE classes every day, and we have hockey, basketball, football, handball, netball, and rugby.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, have you guys played that kind of sports back in Japan?
Not really, actually.
Yeah.
We have different teaching styles in Japan. Like from my school, like we just study like how to play football for like a long period of time, and then we switch the subject. But here we play different sports every single day. So I think I prefer it this way. yeah, I like it.
me either.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good. So you do enjoy the sports here?
Yes, really.
Good. Because it's quite interesting, I'll say, that sports heard from you guys. I probably don't know how to play rugby as well or other sports you're playing. So yeah, good to know. The other question is, you were talking about assembly every morning, right? And do you want to talk a little bit about a bit more about what you actually learn from the assembly?
Yes, so we have learned about a healthy diet.
Yes.
As I told you, the illegal drugs.
Yeah, and bullying.
Yeah, bullying, and also including cyberbullying as well, and racism. Yeah,
Yes,
related.
that's very important.
Yeah, so this kind of very important stuff in the
In our life.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Yeah, I think that's great to hear from you guys. Let me ask other people, see if they have any questions. Anyone's got questions for our lovely students? No? It's okay. I think if you have any question, you can type in the chat box. We can sort of get back to you on that. Thank you so much. Thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you both. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Gary. Thank you, Canon.
Oh, you all finished?
Yeah.
Good. Well, hopefully that was a helpful end to the session on Bishopstrow. A good example there. 2 students who joined us, one going on to Uppingham and one going on to Lancing College, obviously different stages of their education, but benefiting from their Bishopstrow experience. We'd now like to turn to Padworth, and Lorraine Atkins will provide an introduction to Padworth College.
Thank you, Mark. Padworth College was established in 1963. It originally started as an all-girls college, but by the 1990s became a co-educational boarding and day college. We are home to students aged between the ages of 14 and 19, and the ethos of the college is very much an international environment. The college aims to provide a broad range of academic programmes so that we can prepare both international and British students for the top UK universities as well as others worldwide. We currently house up to 100 boarders and 20 day students. And it's really, really lovely that our boarders are able to mix with our day students, some of whom come in on the weekend to socialise with their peers. Our international student body has up to 30 different nationalities represented, and no one nationality at present is bigger than any other. In fact, our British community is the biggest nationality. We've got, as you can see in the photograph, a beautiful 12-acre site in Padworth. It's very, very close to the university town of Reading, and London is also close by. We're about 40 minutes from Heathrow, and in the current sort of COVID situation that we're in, you can see that the site allows us to entertain the students and also keep them very, very safe and healthy. Thank you. What makes Padworth different? How are we different from everybody else? We have an extremely strong focus on the development of independent learning. We have a maximum of 10 students in each class, and this allows students to really research and develop their thinking skills and their problem solving, ready for that transition from A-level or a foundation year course to university. The staff are committed to supporting the students reach their academic potential and also are readily available to support any career choices that they may be wishing to make. As I've said, the small class sizes, on average 8 to 10, means that we can have an Oxbridge tutorial style education. The students regularly research, present, and are able to debate with their teachers. Each student has a personal tutor who, as we'll find out more in a minute, really takes them on their journey to find out what they would like to study at university and how they apply. We do study a traditional British curriculum, but we definitely have a very modern approach, and the college itself has a very global outlook. Students are supported through, as I've said, through their university choices, and those who are going for the more competitive courses, like medical courses and Oxbridge, have extra preparation programs because of the admissions tests that they need to prepare themselves for, and to ensure that their personal statements are really, really focused and drilled down to meet the admissions tutor's requirements. There is a high level of pastoral support for the students, really promoting this independence and helping that transition to university. Each student has a personal tutor, as in a personal academic tutor, who they meet with usually twice a day, sometimes more. As well as that, they have a pastoral support team who make sure that they are feeling safe and secure on the evenings and weekends. Our programmes. The college has a wide range of programmes available, and these academic programmes are for both boarding and day students. Each programme allows a wide range of subjects to be studied and extracurricular activities. I cannot emphasise the benefits in a holistic education, where not only are the students able to carry out independent study, but they can develop a passion for something in their spare time. We have both academic and non-academic extracurricular activities, and each student is allowed to develop themselves as an individual, so that when they come to write that all-important personal statement, they can really show their whole personality. Class sizes are obviously small so that we can optimise learning. In the present situation with COVID, this has never been more important. For those students who've been learning with us online, they've had an exceptionally high level of student-teacher interaction, as well as our students who've actually been able to have face-to-face teaching. We offer a range of programmes. There is a 2-year GCSE programme. We offer a 1-year IGCSE programme, which perhaps suits those students who have finished in their home countries, like I know many of the Hong Kong and maybe Chinese students do, finish their home country first level at the age of 15. We also offer a 2-year and an 18-month A-level programme and a 1-year A-level programme. The NCUK International Foundation Year, which I'll talk more to you about in a minute. And for those students who are looking for a study abroad programme with a short immersion in the UK, just to get their English language up to date and maybe try a few lessons in a British style of teaching, we can also offer those programmes for you. The A-level course is usually taken over 2 years and is taken in what we call Year 12 and Year 13. There is an 18-month course available at Padworth, and sometimes the students may be able to transfer from another course onto a 1-year course here. Students usually choose 3 A-level subjects, and in addition, international students will also study IELTS. It's really, really important that a student is able, by the time they leave us, to have usually 6.5 to 8 on their IELTS. It is possible for students to do an EPQ, an extended project qualification. For those of you who are new to the EPQ, it resembles the extended essay on IB, and it certainly allows the student to show universities and themselves, and we mustn't underestimate that, and themselves, how they can, over a long period of time, pursue some independent research and have the confidence to present their findings to an audience. Each student is supported by the university and careers advisor, who works with them so that they have clear guidance on how to apply for universities in the UK through UCAS, and also through other countries in the world that they may wish to apply to. They're also supported by the advisor on how to find internships and work experience, so that they really sell themselves to the highest level. The NCUK International Foundation Year, Padworth is delighted to be an accredited NCUK delivery partner for the IFY programme. It's a one-year qualification, and it's designed for international students. It allows them to get into the first year of entry at undergraduate degree level at reputable English-speaking universities. There are 4 pathways available, and they are business, engineering, humanities and science. And I can't emphasise enough how important the academic English element of the course is to ensure that those international students that are on the programme can successfully achieve their degree. Once students have completed their IFY programme with us, they have guaranteed entry to one of 16 NCUK partner universities. There are a wide range of universities available in the UK that work with NCUK, and they include the University of Birmingham, Bristol, Leeds, Manchester, Queen Mary as part of the University of London, and the University of Sheffield. It allows students who have perhaps made that choice to come to the UK, perhaps a little bit later than others, to achieve as much as their counterparts who've come earlier. Thank you. The support that a student at Padworth gets with university admissions cannot be understated. At the end of year 13, students need to have that confidence to know that they are ready for their next step of their academic journey. And we start in year 12. Each of the students needs to know how to promote themselves, how to research, and ensure that they have this successful progression to university. So we start in year 12 with choosing courses and doing initial university research. This term, on a Saturday morning, the students have, after their tests, they have had a range of talks that are related to university and career choices. So far this term, they've had a medical and dentistry talk. They have had talks on UCAS generally, how to write a personal statement, and more recently, what it's like to be a student at university, all those first things that you need to know. We believe that this part of our provision really ensures that the students are really ready and secure in their sort of mental health as they move on to university. They will have a range of interviews and support sessions with not only the Director of Studies, but their personal tutor. They will start the UCAS application process in June. The UCAS application process is open for the initial filling in of their form in June. They will have already, by the autumn term, have got their personal statement polished, and so that at the beginning of September they are ready to go with their application. As we all know, the earlier that they get their application in, the sooner that they will have offers, and it also shows just how organised and developed as a young person that they are. We will track offers with them. It's if a parent or an agent requires some support as well as the student. The Director of Studies and myself are very, very happy to join parents on a Zoom, because obviously we understand the system, but they may not understand the system, and we want them as well to feel as supported as possible. Once the student gets their offers, we will give them advice on how they're currently performing, and what is a really sensible way of ensuring that they make the correct choices on their main offer. Then obviously the team here, and I say team because we all work together and it is very much teamwork, will help them look at accommodation choices that they may have and how to apply for their visa. Thank you. As you can see, students at Padworth go to a wide range of universities, not only Russell Group. It's really important that not only league tables and whether universities are Russell Group or not, that the students and their parents are aware that different universities have specialisms, and it may be that a particular university is the right place for an individual student. We have an enrichment programme which has a variety of sports, social and recreational activities. In normal times, on the weekends, on a Sunday, there is always a cultural trip to different parts of the south of the UK. It's really important that students get a feel for different towns and cities. This will also help them with their university choices, whether they want to be in a city location, whether they want to be on a campus. We also want them to, have the same experiences that many students who've been brought up in the UK may have had, and lots of fun as well. It's really part of the Padworth experience that we have a strong team spirit. We have a house system very similar to Bishopstrow, and on the weekends there are a range of sporting and perhaps debating competitions that the students can take part in. The typical sports they might play whilst they're here: badminton, basketball, golf, table tennis, volleyball, tennis, and that we also have a fitness centre on site. We actively encourage our students to take part in charitable work while they're here. We have a very, very strong charities club that they can volunteer with. There's also choral and instrumental tuition available. We have board games and chess clubs. Baking is a really popular activity. Most weekends at the moment, there seems to be an awful lot of baking and an awful lot of chocolate being used. More cerebrally, we have debating clubs, language clubs, and photography. We actively encourage students to lead clubs. It's very important to us that we can give students as much leadership opportunity as possible. We have heads of houses, we have a head and deputy of school, we have student leaders, and we also have a student-led student council. All of these allow students to have a voice and learn how to share their opinions in a mature way. As well as all of this, there are a range of recreational activities that students can do off campus. Typical Friday night activities would be to go bowling, go to the cinema, and go ice skating. Other activities for the daylight will include horse riding and yoga. Thank you. We're obviously a very, very strong boarding school, and boarding is central to the whole ethos of the college, and there is very much a sense of home from home amongst our students, and they are fiercely protective of all that's on offer here. We've got outstanding pastoral care. The boarding team, I am in absolute awe of. They have really, really supported students at the moment during the COVID pandemic, and ensured that they do not feel isolated, ensure that they feel included, and that they are happy. We have medical support from the local doctor surgery. Both myself, the Director of Studies, the boarding team, and 3 teachers live on site, which has meant that there's been a huge adult input for our boarders, and it's meant that life has gone on pretty much as normal for them. The boarding students live on campus. Our boarding houses are separated into sort of boys and girls, and literally it's maybe 50 meters from the main teaching buildings. It is all very, very close. The majority of the rooms that the students live in are single study bedrooms, and we are absolutely spoilt by our wonderful team of chefs who provide our food, and very much like Bishopstrow, I can definitely say that the food is delicious, as the 2 girls said. Next slide, please. Okay, as we're all aware, we're currently in yet another state of flux to do with the public examinations, and the team here has spent an awful lot of time looking very carefully at what the government through Ofqual has said. Currently, teachers who are assessing students, it will not be done on the algorithm that they suggested last year, but the grades that are given to students will be evidenced by 3 sets of substantial work. At Padworth, as I previously referenced, we have testing on a Saturday morning. This allows our students to already have a huge portfolio of evidence that we can use to show their capabilities. What we will also be doing is we will be using the tests, mini exams that the boards are sending out to us to enhance the grades that the students will be getting. None of this is going to be a shock to the Padworth students, because this is a weekly event that they have this testing. As well as that, some subjects have coursework or practical elements, and certainly for students who are studying English language and modern languages, they will also have their speaking tests. Teachers at Padworth, as in the whole of the country, have to submit their grades by the 18th of June, and the A-level results will be released on the 10th of June, and the GCSE on the, sorry, not 10th of June, the 10th of August, and the GCSE results will be released on the 12th of August. The team at Padworth will be here so that if there are any concerns from students or parents, that they will have that support. But I would not imagine that any student at Padworth will in any way feel that they don't know where they are, because this is all part of the personal tutor work and the work the Director of Studies does to ensure that they are fully aware of where they are, because all the way through their time here, they will have had targets set and they will have had that support to reach the best grade they possibly can. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorraine. Really good to have that overview, and hopefully everyone found that helpful. Would again like to hand you over to Tin and Betty to manage our next student Q&A session.
I think Lorraine's just going to get the students now.
We've got 3 students hopefully joining us: Sunny from China, Duc from Vietnam, and Jinmei from Japan, who are all studying A-levels in their final year with us. All had different journeys in terms of getting to and then studying at Padworth.
Whilst we're waiting, does anybody have any questions? We do have a question about the fastest route to London, and I'm assuming that was the fastest route to London from Bishopstrow.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
In practice, that's definitely by taxi. And perhaps an hour and a half. We've got very good contacts with a local taxi firm. They, in the current climate, obviously, we've been very concerned to make sure that they follow all the COVID hygiene regulations as well, which they do very thoroughly. And again, the fact that, thank goodness, we've had no cases, indicates just how carefully even that has been considered and all the guidance adhered to. I wonder if I could just say something about the two girls who spoke. One of the things that I found lovely was what they were saying about the things that they had learned in assembly. And it made me realize that, once again, there are lots of things that they are learning that they don't realize they're learning. So when I go into assembly, as I do quite often, one of the things that I see them doing is that the way they're learning those things that they talked about, actually there is real skill being used by the people who are running the assemblies. They get these young people to talk in small groups and then to have the confidence to stand up and talk to the school. That may be only 50 people, but 50 people is a lot when you're 13 years old. It's your second language, it's your second week at the new school, and yet there is the skill amongst the Bishopstrow staff to give these youngsters the confidence to try to use their language. And it is astonishing just how rapidly they're able to develop that sense. Actually, I can try this, I can do this. And it's a real testament to the skill of the teaching staff here.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thanks, Stuart.
I think we've got our students, so over to you,
We
Betsy and Tim.
do. Hi guys, hello again. Hi Sunny, Doug and Shimei, you're on mute. There's always one.
There we go.
That's it. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, guys. Could you please introduce yourselves? Let us know how old you are, what you're studying, and where you're from.
So my name is Sunny and I'm from China. Currently I'm studying A-level for the second year and I'm doing biology, chemistry and math now.
Thank you, Sunny. Shinmei?
Hello, my name is Chinmay and I'm from Japan and I'm also doing my A-levels and I'm studying economics, accounting and maths.
Great, thank you. Hi, Doug.
And also, my name is Doug. I come from Vietnam, and like others, I'm also studying in year 13. I'm studying math, physics, and chemistry.
Great, thank you. Lorraine, I'm not sure if you can get the computer a little bit nearer to the students, just because we can struggle to hear a little bit. Okay, thank you. So guys, again, thank you very much for joining us. Could you sort of talk us through your experience of studying at Padworth? Sunny, you have a very interesting background of sort of how you ended up at Padworth. Do you want to talk us through your journey to the UK?
Oh, okay. So I think this is my 5th year to study here, but I changed many schools. So the first year I studied at Mount Kelly College, which is close to Plymouth, and I started year 10 there, but my English wasn't good, so I went to Bishopstrow for the second year. And then the third year I went to study pre-A-level course, so that's like the foundation course. Then I came here for my full A-level.
For your full A-levels, okay. And I guess one of the questions would be is, you've had that a lot of experience at 3 different schools and you've ended up at Padworth. And what do you think makes Padworth different? Are you enjoying your time, or have you enjoyed your time at Padworth?
Yeah, I really enjoyed my time here because it's a bit different to studying international school and the local school. But like when I was in the local school, I can't really like join into the group and join into the like community there. But in here, like everyone's really nice to me, and we have all like different cultures and different backgrounds, so it's easier to share everything with each other.
Sure. Thank you, Sunny. And Chinmay.
Hello.
And you've been at Padworth for a while now,
Yes.
as well. And do you want to talk about your time at Padworth and what you enjoy the most about Padworth?
Well, the first time I arrived here was back in September 2016, and it was very different compared to my other schools that I've been in Japan. It was a different environment. Like the school was probably isolated from the nearby places, but the students inside it was a very big community, even though it was very small numbers of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really happy to get along with them. And for my 4 years in Padworth, it was just one of my best times here. And I have met so many teachers come in and go out, and it has given me a great experience for life.
Okay, fantastic. And Doug,
Yeah.
how did you end up at Padworth?
So it was I would say it's a very long story. So I would say among my choices, Padworth was the option that I find very, it's very good quality, but also affordable, given that, my family's business situation. So, and also the reason I chose Padworth was because that the school is, meant for international students like me. So I believe that when I joined the school, I wouldn't really feel left out with each other, because like we are on the same boat. We come from different cultural backgrounds and stuff. So I wouldn't be shy about anything. And also, like Sunny comes from China, different from Japan. We have, like we do share a lot of similarities in culture. So I find it very easy to get along with them. Yeah.
Okay, good. That's great to hear. And all of you are in year 13, preparing to go to university. And how has Padworth how did it prepare you with applying for university? Did you get lots of support?
Yeah, I did. So for me, I will study biomedical science in the future, and I asked a lot from my biology teacher, and he gave me lots of help from my personal statement and suggestions for university life. And also my previous English teacher helped me with my language of my personal statement. So like all of them helped me a lot.
Great. And Sunny, do you want to sort of tell us where you have university offers from?
Oh, so I applied King's College London, Manchester, Birmingham, Sussex, and Westminster, and I got all of them. And
so you got offers from all 5?
Yeah.
Fantastic. And what's your first choice?
King's College London.
Fantastic. Well, fingers crossed for you. And Chinmay, what about you?
I have applied to King's College as well, Edinburgh, Bristol, St Andrews, and Aberdeen. And I just received an offer from Aberdeen, and I'm waiting for other 2 Scottish universities.
Fantastic. Okay, good. And you, Doug?
So I've applied to Imperial College, Bristol, Southampton, Loughborough, and Manchester, and I've received all offers except for Imperial.
Well, which is very, very tough.
I didn't really aim for that, so I think I understand why.
Good. Thank you. And what is it you're both going to go off and study? So we've got biomedical sciences. Chinmay, what did you apply for?
My main course was international business management with economics.
Fantastic. And Doug?
I'm applying for mechanical engineering.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Over to you, Tim.
Hey, hi everyone. So I'm Sunny, just to let you know, I got a message for you from Rebecca. She said, fantastic, Sunny, your English so good now. So you don't have to be worried about English anymore. So it's really good to see you guys. Unfortunately, I can't really travel to the UK. Otherwise, it would be great to meet you guys in person. It's good to know you all got offers. I guess you are really excited to go off to university. We will talk about academic on that sort of point of view. I want to get to know a bit more about your life outside academic. So I know it's a bit hard to talk about it now due to COVID, but like you guys spend so much time in Padworth. So what do you guys do in a normal time? Like outside of study, outside of lessons, what do you guys do?
So we have lots of clubs to choose. Like for year 13s, we have revision club to choose as we will have exams. But like for other year groups, they can choose either revision clubs or like sport clubs. But also like for year 13s, we can also choose them. And during the weekend, we can do some like activities as well. For example, last week, I think in the girls' house they did like the waffle cake. So
Ah, I think we lost him there a bit, right?
Can you
I
hear
think
us?
so.
Hello?
Yeah, that's it. We can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, now we can hear her now. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh, did you hear what did I say?
I think the last word I heard is waffle, which is really nice. I love it.
Oh, so like before COVID, before the coronavirus come, so we always go to Reading during the weekend, and also like sometimes school take us to Oxford and other places to travel because we're all international students, so it's better to see the English culture.
Yeah, good, good. How about Doc, right? Is that your name?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How about you?
Yes.
Sorry, so I missed one person. Sorry about that.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you do outside of this? Do you do some baking as well?
I don't usually do bakings because
Okay.
I don't want to, waste other people's health insurance. So so I do other stuff such as I usually, because the school have courts, so I usually go out and play with them. Like we can play badminton, we can play football, basketball, even
Mhm.
volleyball if you want to, and also we can walk around because it's a very beautiful countryside. We also have the gym so that we can, exercise, improve our health and stuff. Yeah, and well, before the COVID thingy, arrived, during Wednesday or Thursday, the school also takes us out to, the proper basketball and football court, like the professional one. So,
Oh,
so, but in this situation, I think, yeah, it's safer to just play in the school sites. But
good,
I'd
good.
say it is good enough. It is good enough to use.
Okay. How about Chimai?
Hello. So like they said, we used to go to a nearby school, which had
Mhm.
which was more facilitated. I think so.
Yeah, facilitated.
And we used to play football and basketball there every Wednesday, and there was also badminton nets.
Monday.
Yeah.
Badminton.
And on the weekends, the school used to host some trips to Reading, Oxford, or Portsmouth, which was really nice. And we also go to London at the end of term for shopping, so like Christmas shopping.
Oh, nice.
And on the other days, so this weekend we have a pool competition, so billiard or snooker, some because they're like different words. And there are like lots of events being hosted by the staff because of the COVID pandemic, and they're just trying to keep the joy or the happiness or the community live
Yeah, I can see that from your face. That's good. That's good to know. Something I want to ask, probably the last question from me is, I know the college is quite small size in terms of college-wise. So you keep talking about the family feeling. I think it's from you. I heard about that. So what makes you feel that? Why can you talk a little bit about your life? Like, why do you feel Padworth is like really family-like? Yeah.
So my so I used to be in year 9 when I joined. So that
Mm-hmm.
was before I started my GCSEs, and my neighbor, he was also my classmate, and we had been together for 2 years. And we used to spend all the time together doing studying, watching movies, eating pizza on the weekends. And we used to hang out with other seniors, my seniors. They used to play games, and we used to just talk, laugh, and we used to play football together. So, unlike schools that have like 300 students or 600 students, where you can't travel between year 6 and year 1, you can't really spend time with each other. Here, with year 9 and year 13 students, you can actually spend time together. So, I do clubs with some students that are from year 10, doing basketball, and we all really know each other because we meet each other every day, and because it's not a big school, there's not much space to travel as well. So when we eat, we are all in the same dining room, and when we pass, we talk like some small talks or just say hello, so like some greetings. So it's really easy to get to know everybody else, and some people have some good things to do, like here you might see some people playing piano, so you can go join them and listen to them. So it's really friendly environment. It's a good friendly environment.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Duck, Sunny, is there anything you want to add to that?
Well, I would say in this COVID situation, I think the school has done great in terms of protecting us from, the virus. So you see, I can sit next to him doing like this, and I can do that we're gonna get infected.
That's great to see. That's great to see. Really great to see. And I guess, just from Tin's point of view, what she was trying to get at was, there is a small community, a small international community at Padworth, and how well do you integrate together, and you're obviously integrating together very well. You're not bored of each other yet as well, which is excellent. And there's obviously a lot going on in the college in terms of the extracurricular. There's a lot going on in terms of your studies. You are in year 13 at the moment, so I can imagine you've been incredibly busy this year as well, preparing for your assessments and preparing your university application. So it's really nice and positive to see. I mean, you're all incredibly successful, and we're very happy to be celebrating your successes with you as well. I'm just going to ask if anybody has any questions for the three of you. Is there anything anybody wants to find out from our three students? Please feel free to unmute if you do.
Yeah. Anyone?
No, I think we might be okay. And if anybody does, please do drop us a message in the box, and we will get back to you. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, guys, thank you so much. Thanks for your time. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, weekend.
Yeah.
So I think we're now at the Q&A session, general Q&A. So I think if anyone has any questions, I think either come off mute and please ask away, or questions through the chat function.
No?
I think we bombarded everyone with so much of, oh, here we go.
This one. Betty,
Shall I ask? So may I know any special roles of Padworth College and Bishopstrow College under IFE? Any salient differences between these two schools?
Do you want to answer that one, Betty?
Well, I wondered whether the principals wanted to sort of answer?
Yeah, why not?
Yep.
We're teachers. We love explaining things.
Exactly.
I suppose the key thing about Bishopstrow is this short, intense preparation phase. We know that all the students coming to Bishopstrow are planning to go on to somewhere else pretty quickly, and that everything that we're about is preparing them for where they're going next. And they all have a commonality about them, that they are needing to develop their English to the next level for whatever is necessary for their next stage, and that we're then working on some academics as well. So it's a very broad, very much thinking immediately about the next phase, about working with the next boarding school, working with their agents about that advice about where they go next, and really from the moment they're with us, it's thinking about, you know, moving on to that next phase.
Whereas at Padworth, if I extend that journey or pathway that the Padworth students take is one to university. And very much, as I hope you've seen in the presentation this morning, lots and lots of support is given to our students, because obviously they may not have the background knowledge, particularly about the UK educational system for university, and the personal tutors and the boarding team here hold their hands and ensure that they are strong, independent young people who are ready for the next phase.
Thank you. Thanks, Stuart. Thanks, Lorraine. Any other questions? So we have one from Apply Easy Pro from Anya. So for the beginner level students, if they are struggling keeping up with their peers during their course, could you give more details on the assistance they will be receiving from their teachers, and how could they seek for advice perhaps? And I think, Lorraine, that's probably a Padworth one.
Okay, so as we said, the average class size here is between 8 and 10 students. That does allow teachers to really give each student in the class support while the lesson is going on, so that they can differentiate. But outside the classroom, there are, as the students briefly mentioned, there are subject clinics that they can go to with the academic staff. In the evening, prep, homework is supervised by the boarding team and teachers, so that they can, if they've got a problem, they can go to a teacher and say that they've got that problem, and if that particular teacher can't help them out, they will ensure that their subject teacher knows the next day and they can get the help they need.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? How about younger age students at Bishopstrow, Stuart?
I was hoping somebody would have, so I was looking at that question, and Betty was directing it to Lorraine, and I was thinking, I want to answer that question.
Sorry, Stuart, didn't want you to feel left out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question for Bishopstrow students. First of all, beginner level students are people that, you know, we're used to that all the time. So a lot of the teaching is structured to make sure that they do keep up. And the teachers meet every week and go through the performance of every student. So there is a teacher meeting which looks every week at how each child is doing. And there is a series of what we call targeted interventions. So if we identify that anybody isn't making the progress that we expect, then there are specific things that we do to provide them with the support that they need in order to help them get better. So these are, you know, sort of related to everything that they're doing in the classroom. So from that side, teachers all the time checking how they're doing, you know, what else do they need? But we're also the whole approach, thinking to things like the assemblies that you heard about this morning. All of the approaches are things which are giving children confidence, whatever age they are and whatever English level they are, to actually also ask. So right from the beginning, if they are feeling difficult, anything is difficult, whether it's in class, around the school, whatever it is, it's ensuring that they have the confidence to say, I'm struggling with this, I didn't understand that. And that comes very quickly. So We've got lots of systems set up so that we looking, as it were, top down to see how they're doing, so that we're making sure that they're doing okay and then taking action if they're not. And equally, that the students can themselves say, I'm finding something difficult.
Thank you, Stuart. And how about the students joining the online programme? How will they join the weekly meeting and any assessments on campus? Would they have any chance to engage with the social or sports activities virtually? And
Yeah,
that's for both of you.
Yeah, super. They don't just join weekly meetings. They're in every morning's assembly. So there they are. They're with us. Everything runs through Teams. They click on the link, in they go. Sometimes I join the assemblies on Teams. Sometimes I go in person. Sometimes I'm not. They see me as Mr. Online Principal, and I give them a wave on camera. So they're able to interact in just the same way as we are doing here. Lessons take place the same way, fully interactive, involved, engaged. Assessment, they get sent the assessments to do. If I'm honest, we're always a little bit nervous about whether they're doing the assessments in entirely the way we want them, because we can't check them in quite the same way, but they certainly get the assessments. And we actually have a sports program for them. This was much more important initially. Lots of our students, if I think back to April, May, June of last year, they were in lockdown. They could barely get out of the house, and we were sending them sports things, things that they could do while they were at home in lockdown. They were sending us videos of the things that they were doing. We had a competitive element to that, engaged and active. So, throughout that process, we've been trying to give that whole experience that they would, as far as possible, as if they were here in person. That's become less important over time. More students have been able to get out and do their own thing. So it's been perhaps less significant what we've done, but it's still there for those that need it.
Thank you. And Lorraine, you're on mute.
I'm sorry. I'm so desperate that I don't interfere with what anybody else is saying that I keep on mute. Pretty much the same here at Padworth. I suppose we're a little bit luckier with the age of our students being older, that many of our Year 12 students who've been studying online have had the benefit of joining social groups on Teams on the weekends, and really are beginning to gel as a group with the students who are here on site, as if they are all here together. And I am amazed at their social networking, and actually some of our on-site students have persuaded some of our online students to come back even earlier than we'd originally anticipated, so that's great. And there's been just chatter with the students, as well as the support that they get from their tutors, who they meet twice a day.
Thank you. Thanks. Any other questions? Tim, do you have any questions?
I think it's fine so far, because I actually saw some questions, but the student actually answered those questions. For example, some agents might be concerned. For example, Padworth, the size of college is quite a petite one. And some agents are worried it's a really small community. The student doesn't really have a big student body, but the student just basically answer the question to us, like how much is really nice for them to be able to hang out with other year group students and be able to help each other in a way, or hang out with each other, and to sort of build up their network in the college. I think really nice to hear from the students. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay.
Yeah. No questions from anyone here? No, I think everybody.
We've taken up almost 2 hours of everybody's time
Yeah,
this morning, and everyone's been patient.
I think everyone's a bit too shy, but yeah, should be okay. We will send everybody the a recorded version of this. And if you have any questions, you can always contact me. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much, Tin.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Tin, for setting this up today. Thank you, Betty, Stuart, Lorraine, for your contributions. Very much hope everyone has found this a useful session. As Tin mentioned, she will follow up with the recording and the materials, and we look forward to developing our relationships with you at both Bishopstrow and Padworth in the future coming weeks and months. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of the day and have a good weekend, I think.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody. Take
Bye.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.